Well, I'm really excited for the conversation we're having tonight. Our next guest is a multidisciplinary creative. That's a really fun word to say, but she's a writer and artist. You probably know her from her large presence on YouTube and or Instagram. We're here to talk about the Kickstarter campaign for her newest project, a manga called Neo-Wonderland, that's live on Kickstarter right now, and I hope you can secure your copy because it looks like it's flying off these digital shelves. So here to talk to me about it is Sia Om. How are you today?
So I am doing great. Thank you for having me, Brandon.
Oh, no problem at all. I'm really excited. When Chris reached out, I was like, this project looks really cool. I hope I'm not too late to, to jump on it. But yeah, I was telling you, I was telling Sia offline that I've been geeking out on her YouTube channel. I was making dinner for the fam, and I'm like, all right, I need something in these headphones. And you, you and Francis Manipo
Mhm,
have
mhm.
these really fun vlogs. Like, I don't know where the Casey Neistat bug started biting comic creators, but you got like all this B-roll and it's jumping. And it's so artistic, and I'm like, here I am, just talking straight to camera, and you guys making all the art. Like, it's too. You're too good. You're already good at comics. Like, what is it? What is it with you guys and YouTube? Like, just showing us all up.
Oh my gosh. Did you watch the episode with Frances and I when we were talking about that whole thing?
I did. I did.
Yeah, we're like, man, if we could talk about like just camera gear and filmmaking, I mean, our heads almost exploded. Just like, oh, that gear is so cool. And it's like the littlest minutiae, which I'm at a hotel right now. And so I brought some of my camera gear and I had to hobble it together because I forgot some of the, the adapters and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
forget those things and you're like, oh, I've done this long enough. I shouldn't have this problem, but here we are. And yeah, I think with storytelling and comic books, we always want to see some other form of storytelling to go along with comic books. Because I think that the thing that ties it together is art and storytelling together. And so when it comes to filmmaking, animation, and comic books, it's like all those things kind of meld together. I think if given a choice, a lot of us would want to do all those things. I mean, speaking for myself, of course, and Francis, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny because a lot of the terminology is the same. Even when you're watching comic artists, they'll put together their composition and they're always saying, "Oh yeah, the camera will be here," and
Mm-hmm.
so it's almost like you're a DP, cinematographer,
Mm-hmm.
um, just in a comic book. So it makes sense that those skills transfer. It's like if you have an eye, then you have an eye. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think it takes a certain type of nerd to to nerd out on camera gear and settings and like, all right, let me adjust for this light and oh, I forgot my ND filter and like to go through all of the rigmarole that is
Mm-hmm.
filmmaking. But I was watching the one episode where you were assisting on a music video project,
Mm-hmm.
and it is like just talking about the run and gun nature versus like being in a controlled lighting environment like a studio, and it's just like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's I don't know. Creativity is creativity. Like I was making fried rice today. That was dinner for the family, and it's like you do fried rice because it's like all right, I can just throw whatever's in the fridge in here. It's not it's low stakes. Like if it's bad, we can just throw more
Yeah, it
soy
tastes
sauce.
good.
It's good, right? It
Usually.
tastes good. It's a hit with the kids. Um, but it's like with cooking, it's like all right, I can throw a little bit of garlic. I'll throw it at this time so it doesn't burn, and there's all these
You're so
different.
right.
Right. It's like it's all these different variables, but it's fun to watch it come together. And it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect each time, but the fun is in kind of making the thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, I guess we're jumping right in because I'm really curious about when I speak to people who are creative in any way, it's really often that they're creative in a lot of ways. We just kind of only talk about
Mm-hmm.
one, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but you've sort of made it a point to kind of present uh, more than one facet of your creativity. And I'm curious as to what drives that. Like, why is it important for you to express it in so many different ways?
It's kind of like, what'd you say? You said something about your creative need, but I think the word is itch. I think it rhymed with itch. I was proud of it. It was like
Oh,
need and itch. But I think it's and I cook as well. So when you said fried rice and then putting the garlic at the right time, like boy, do I know. Olive oil and a hot pan and
right,
butter. It's so finicky, right?
right.
So I and photography obviously is another one. I'm here in Jackson, Wyoming, which is near the Grand Tetons, and there's tons of wildlife. I saw moose today, we saw bison today, and there's just that need. And I think it's because I'm chasing that like dopamine hit of being a creative person, and I've concluded that's why I still enjoy telling stories and drawing comic books because when you get it right, I mean that feeling is as natural and as like amazing as they come in, and you could do it a million different ways and still once you hit that like that vision you have in your head and maybe even better, it's just like wow, that feeling is amazing. I could only imagine probably a lot of different disciplines are like that where and I feel like when you're doing something that gives you that, you're using your body in a certain way, your mind, and it executes the way you want to or beyond that, I think it's the same kind of dopamine hit, which is more the purest form of it because you know that your body did all that and your mind did all that, and so it's the purest form of creativity, whether it be cooking, drawing, making art. There's a lot of things. You know, even like what you were doing, look at the lighting behind you, and you chose a camera with a shallow depth of field. Obviously, there's creativity in everything, and I think it's just being aware of that, and then but not too aware, because then you get all addicted to doing all sorts of stuff where you think, oh, it's so creative. I want to go do that thing. But I've always wanted to tell stories in comic book form and the film form because I just love. I'm a gearhead too, so
Mm,
it's a I mean, I'm a gearhead for art supplies as well, so it's probably not healthy, but here
right.
we are.
So, in kind of comparing the mediums, I feel like filmmaking can be more forgiving, right?
Mhm,
Like, there's happy little accidents that happen with the camera. It's like, oh, there's a little lens flare here. That looks cool.
mhm,
I may not have
mhm,
intended it, but it's there, right?
mhm.
Whereas I'm looking at your art and sure, I'm sure there might be like a stray brush stroke here or there.
Happy little accidents,
Right. Happy little things.
like Bob Ross.
Right. But it's like it looks very precise and,
Hmm.
almost technical in a way. And I'm curious as to like how the different mediums feel to you
Good question.
and does it feel like one is like okay I can relax and breathe and another is like kind of tight and I don't know how does that go for you?
I think the one medium that everybody says is the most unforgiving, but honestly, I think with watercolors, there's happy accidents, and you could actually go with the flow. No pun intended, because watercolors are, if you want to, enjoy and actually master that, there's a sense of letting go where you're not so precise. Whereas with digital, even if it's supposed to mimic watercolors, there is a precision that goes with the tools because they're already preset a certain way. There's
Right.
no happy little like the water went a certain direction, the colors kind of blended in together a certain direction. That's why it's such a beautiful, and ink is the same way, beautiful, beautiful medium. And so I think less forgiving, you could say, I would say digital. Ironically, I never thought about, but definitely unforgiving and very beautiful is probably watercolors. But that's because you have to let go. And I think with each medium, it's how much control are you hoping for, and if you make a quote unquote mistake or happy accidents, digital, once you erase and you edit and undo, I mean that's like repeat, like deleting the fact that you made mistakes, whereas traditional not so much, those forms. And so I love both, but if I had to pick, I was making so much money I could just watercolor all day long and my pages were just ink, it'd probably be that, which is what I did with my first Aspen Comics creator-owned book, which is Lola XOXO, which most of it was traditional, and that was very unforgiving. And I learned that, I was young and early on, rebellious. Like you were saying, there was like an evolution, I guess.
See, we can tell you're a pro because you just brought it back to the early days and I didn't know how we were going to segue into you know h- how did this come about, right? Like looking at your art is not like it doesn't appear to be something that you kind of stumbled into. I have to imagine you've been into art for a long time, but what was that inspiration like, and when did you decide I want to make this a career?
Well, like most kids, we draw, and and I think most of us also watched cartoons, and we would copy things we saw. I think the silly thing is, I don't think my dad ever discouraged me because it was probably something that seemed healthy to him, like, oh, she's drawing, that's really cool. And so he always, in a very passive way, because my dad was hardworking and my mom, like, they multiple jobs, and they just wanted us to be good kids that were just well behaved and found something. And then my dad would, kind of quietly encourage me to do certain things. I don't know if he was trying to actively go, hey, you should be an artist, as much as he knew I loved it. And he's like, oh, she's doing something productive. And so he'd bring home, like, I don't know. No, I take that back. It was his college paper, actually, and the back of it is white. So what do I do on copy paper? I just drew, and he probably thought it was cute or something. I don't know. And he kept encouraging it in a weird way, and that's kind of how it started. And it never ended because my parents didn't discourage me. They would critique my work, and of course, as a kid, you hated it. But I had like that chip on my shoulder, so I'd always try to get better. But my dad never said you couldn't do it, as much as, oh, you're not good right now, you're not good yet. And so, and then he took me and my brother to a comic book store early on. My brother wanted comics, and I got my first comic book, which is Swamp Thing. And yeah, I knew I wanted to draw comic books ever since I was in middle school, and I never really stopped ever since like high school. I was exposed to the guys at Top Cow, and Michael Turner was my favorite artist for the longest time, and then Joe Benitez and David Finch and Silvestri. So naturally, I kind of was inclined. And by the time I was done with high school, I showed my portfolio for the first time to David Wool at the Top Cow booth, and I kept in touch with him off and on through college. And then, yeah, and I just got better, and I knew that I wouldn't show him any new work until I felt like I was getting better. And then I met Vince Hernandez, and that whole thing kind of snowballed and never stopped, for the past. I mean, I'm gonna say 20 years, almost 20 years.
Mhm.
So.
Wow. So it's funny, like we talk about we, me and my friends, we were talking about like comic art and just sort of the worlds of difference between like a pro artist and your friend that can draw really well.
Mhm.
And you're talking about like, all right, I'm gonna make sure that I like very clearly improve before I submit again. How do you know when you crossed that threshold? Because it feels like there's a C between really good and pro quality.
I think it's being very critical of your own work, but not in a bad way, in a way where you know that you're trying to improve. And I always knew that about myself. Like, if people say, oh, you shouldn't say that about your own stuff, it's like, no, it's okay. I don't take it personally. Like, my skill sets and me, I don't put together. I know if I'm good or not. And I think that's a sign that, I think they said that once you reach that, threshold where you understand when something is good or bad of yourself, or just good enough. First off, you get work, and people want to hire you to do some stuff. So that's one sign. And if someone keeps talking to you and they're an editor, you're doing something right. Plus, I was looking at guys like Michael Turner and Joe Benitez. Their stuff was so detailed. I had like that thing I wanted, and Joe Mad. All these artists. I mean, I could name off at least 20 where I know what their stuff looks like, and I know that there's a rift between where I'm at and where they're at. You just kind of go there, but here and somewhere along the ways, once you get closer to their stuff, you somehow, maybe life experiences and your own experimentation and your own personality, it builds your own, what a lot of people look for, which is style. And I realized that a few years ago, like, I think I finally feel like I know what my style is in my head, but it still looks a little bit like other people's stuff, and you kind of hobble it together. Like, and finally I just felt like I wanted to just put my own style out there instead of all the ones I learned, and kind of picking bits and pieces out of them and turning it into something. So.
Got you. And I mean, you've in this 20-year career, you've worked quite a few places, right? You've got work at Marvel and DC and Aspen and Skybound and all sorts of places. And I think it's easy for us to forget as fans that all this is like work for hire, and there are editors and bosses, and it's like ultimately, like, for as much as we admire the art, it's in service a lot in some ways to someone else's vision. And I'm curious as to like how that is, like being a professional artist, meaning that you have a job to do for someone in addition to trying to kind of feel fulfilled in your own creativity. Like, how do you balance that?
I think everybody has, like their end goal as an artist writer. So I think for me, I always knew I was such a fan of all these artists that I ended up working with and writers, I knew I was going to A, learn from them, and B, be fulfilled because, well, not only does it, you get your paycheck, but then you network and you feel a sense of belonging when you're working with these people, these teams. And so that was always rewarding. The only thing I ever felt like I just felt really bad about was like not being able to draw the one page a day all the time and then have it look good all the time. That bothered me so much where I was like, I don't know if I could be okay with that. But at some points you're like, yeah, it's fine. But you still want to put out work you're proud of. And so I knew that eventually I was going to come back to working on my own creator own when I felt ready. I understood deadlines and I understood it enough and working as a team and my role. And so that was my fulfillment. Of course, I always wanted to work on these projects that I ended up getting anyway. So I was fulfilled because it was like this childhood dream anyway. So by the time that happens, it was already fulfilled, but then at some point I'm like, but I do want to go back and kind of prove and draw my own style and feel like it's like this flow state of doing your own style, which I didn't feel like I had for a while. And so right now I'm starting to feel that again, where I feel like I'm my own person versus all the styles that I basically learned, which is probably why I got to do all these other projects, because I was able to kind of blend my style with theirs pretty good, not exact, but just enough where it wasn't like jarring to someone who's reading a book, for a long amount of time. So
Got you. And so you talk about like being ready. You speak as though like, or like you feel like you've arrived, like the time has come for you to kind of spread your wings. And I'm curious as to with Neo-Wonderland project we're here to talk about. It feels like almost like a debut in a way, like of a singular vision that you've had. But I'm curious as to like why, when you've spoken about the project in other places, there feels like there's an urgency to this project right now. So I'm curious as to like why now?
So this is, I think, what's really important if I were to give any like nugget of wisdom to younger artists or people who are on their way. And I think the urgency is, well, I'm not going to get any younger. How much longer can I draw as many hours as I have per day and be enthusiastic? Because so much life has been lived at this point where, I experienced something I didn't experience when I was younger, where it was all about art, it was all about drawing, it was all about that deadline and that hustle. At some point you experience life, love, loss, and just what everything has to offer. And I feel like the urgency is like this message that I have. It'd be nice to get it out there, like this beauty that I feel inside of experience and all these things. And I want the younger generation to know it's okay. Just know that you're on the right path, but just also believe in yourself and believe that there's something better. And I think that it starts with that. And the urgency is, just being an adult, and we all have bills to pay. And I mean, we had a mortgage, but luckily we rented it out. And it's like, okay, we offloaded that property. I'm renting now, and I have the time and freed some time and stuff. It's like the perfect time. My mind is still sharp. I have the style. I'm so dying to put out there. This story that I've had, I was dying to put out there for a long time. But right now, especially because I have the whole concept of an AI constitution that came about like 5 or 6 years ago, I thought it'd be kind of funny or probably realistic in a way. That now would be a good time for my interpretation and my understanding of how things are right now, and hopefully that just kind of eases some of the fear and anxiety that's what our future is, which generally speaking never goes away. But yeah,
You sound like an athlete. Like
I love athletes, by the way. So
so they talk about I'm a LeBron fan, and there's the debate like, okay, like who was
the
the
best.
best LeBron?
Yeah.
And a lot
Which
of
team,
NBA,
right?
right. So a lot of NBA players would be like that 2018 LeBron, like early Lakers LeBron, where it's like he's still got some of that athleticism. He's not as athletic as he was, but what he's got is like the mind.
Wisdom.
Right. And so it's like he's super efficient. He's picking all his spots, and he knows where to put the ball, and he can just do damage. Meanwhile, he's breaking down every other team's offense and just causing ruckus for everybody involved. But that's what you sound like, talking about like, I feel like I'm at the peak of my powers right now. Like, and I'm not gonna be a spring chicken for the rest of my life. And so it's like this is the
Exactly.
perfect time to take advantage of everything that I've learned. So that's really cool. I don't know. Weird see parallels and weird stuff. But
Oh no, no, it's not a parallel. So here's the thing: is I do watch a lot of sports. I'm in the Aspen Fantasy Football League. I've been there for 10 years, which is fun, and I learned a lot, and I've really appreciated and understood what an athlete has to do. Not only is practicing, your fundamentals so important because when you're freaking out, and seriously, even as an artist, if that all that stuff gets thrown out the window when you have all it's something it's just like closing in on you, and the more fundamentals you follow, you're going to fall back on those things. So if you didn't practice that, then you're going to have a lot of issues. And I think that's why I like really appreciate quarterbacks that watch tape and they digest that stuff and they understand, they love plays, they know how to like change it if they have to in the last second. And even with basketball, same thing. It's like you see some of these guys like they 2 seconds, 3 seconds, all of a sudden they throw and you hear the buzzer and you're like, wow, was that planned? I mean, some of those things are like, is that planned? Or did he practice so much that all of a sudden that intuition kicks in and it just hits at the right moment? Sometimes it doesn't, but when it does, it's like the most beautiful thing. And you don't have to see it all the time, but you see it enough where you're like, it's possible. And it all like, it falls down to the systems you built. And you probably hear that all the time, especially in athletics.
yeah, for sure. It's like Carmelo says it all the time watching film. Like, yeah, we practice that.
Yeah, we practice that. I know I did the bicycle kick into the goalie, in soccer terms, you're like, how do you practice that?
Right, right.
Just, who practices that? It looks like ice skating. Well, that's practice for sure, but it doesn't look practice. It looks like athleticism, but it's the same thing with artists who they say it's talent, and then some people get upset. They're like, no, it's not talent, it's skill. It's not like you're born with it. You do have to practice. Fair. But the thing that skill teaches people to look at is like, it looks like talent. It looks like it was natural because it's so good.
Right.
Like a magician, they just do things. And I'm like, how do they do that? They didn't do it in the first try. It's just amazing.
Right. Yeah, that's funny. We're talking about practice, but we're talking about practice and we're talking about challenging yourself artistically. And with this, right, this project it seems ambitious, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
looking at these preview pages, right? Like, I mean, I can't draw, right? So like all of this is amazing to me. But like I'm looking at some of these textures, some like the city shots, like the aerial shots. There we go.
Mhm.
But there's just so much here. Like it feels like a big swing. And I'm curious as to one, like, what is this story about and what was the inspiration for it?
So for the way that it looks, definitely I was inspired by like, all the Top Cow guys. Their stuff is super detailed. So I was always practicing like how to like window dress, I guess you could call it. So it looks a certain way. What was the inspiration behind the story and how it came about and like, the
Mhm.
story itself? Okay. So I started this story over 20 years ago. So this was when I was in college, and this was back when like street racing and Fast and Furious was like a big thing, and right before Fast and Furious. And I was around that scene a lot. I had friends, and I was a part of it to some extent, and I just loved the way that everybody decked their cars out to do these different things. And there was a stock car and they painted it. I mean, it's like Transformers really. And it was like a piece of art, just like driving around and doing crazy stuff. And it was just fascinating to me. And so that the story at first started out was going to be like a street racing comic almost. And slowly like very actually quickly early on, I had them as assassins. And then it went from that to cyberpunk, within the 10, 15 years. That just the time has just like stretched out so much. But this consistent story was always about the island of Shangrila, which is a man-made island. The rest of the world is basically, at this point of the story, controlled by an AI constitution. And this is one of the few places on the planet that it's still outside of the constitutional rule, because it was basically a garbage island that a lot of the world would dump all of their major garbage and unusable undesirables, whether it be people or like ships, planes and stuff like that, and cars. And so a bunch of technocrats, businessmen put this island together, and sorry, one second, my camera turned. So they basically invented technology that recycles and turned things into buildings and usable things that are technology that was reusable again. And so that's why in my comic book there is flying cars, hoverboards, and stuff like that. So that's the world. And so there's the main character's name is Saint, and he was in prison for 10 years for murder. And when he came back out, he wanted to rekindle his relationship with his mother, his single mom, and his younger brother, Shin. So he gets home and he finds out that his brother is no longer living with his mom, and he's basically in the city. So Saint follows, it goes into the city to find his younger brother, who his mom said is a really good tax collector. That's his job. And Saint finds out really quickly that his brother is not only not a tax collector, but he owes everybody on the island, the mob, a lot of money. And so Saint tries to help his brother get out of debt, and he basically tries every legal mean to repay all these debts, but he exhausts all of those options, and at the end of the day, he becomes an assassin. And so that's the gist of the story right now.
So you've been working on this story for a while, and there's video up of you working on different pages on your YouTube channel, and in those like promos, you it seems very intentionally call it a manga, right? And but we're having this conversation. It kind of uses the word comics and manga interchangeably. Do you make a distinction? And if so, why the choice to make this manga?
I think there's, you know how there's some things there's like an overlap. You could tell by the style, like there was an influence there. And this was kind of something that when I was growing up in high school and stuff, we had Dragon Ball Z and Trigun and Rurouni Kenshin. So I was always exposed to that really cool, badass type of art and animation. And Devil May Cry. I played a lot of video games. So that was kind of something I always wanted my style to look like at some point. I never wanted to go so far where it looked like it was obviously manga and anime, but I didn't want to stay so close to my comic book roots that I felt like I wasn't expressing my influences that I've had all throughout life. And I just thought it was a more dynamic style and it was more personal. So I retrofitted everything that I experienced. Like I love textures. I love Fallout 3. So I wanted a lot of gritty textures. And I wanted the eyes to be slightly bigger, and the faces to be a certain shape, but I didn't want it to go so far where it looked like I was basically copying everything that I saw, in Japan or the East. And so that's kind of intentional in that way. And so the storytelling is also a little bit of like, Back to the Future, and also some of the stuff that you see like Akira, Ghost in the Shell, like those cyberpunk themes, Blade Runner. There's like a mishmash, and I would argue that Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell, they all kind of played off each other in a way and became its own thing, but there was definitely influences that came from that.
For sure, for sure. And so there's several characters here. I think my favorite, just off the preview pages, has got to be the cat.
Yay!
What? Tell us about this cat.
Why do you like the cat? Tell me about it first.
I grew up on Disney movies, and so like there's a lot of like anthropomorphic animals, and that's always fun. But
Mushu.
you're just right, Mushu. I watched the Aristocats, Oliver and Company, all of it. Right, The Fox and the Hound. I did not like The Fox and the Hound as a kid. I rewatched it as an adult. It was funny.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's on Disney.
So I should see it.
So I was talking to my wife. We're clowning this movie. We're both like, "Yeah, Fox and the Hound was so boring." Blah blah blah. Right. So then we turn it on like ironically, and then we're like, "Oh, this is actually kind of good." Like, I guess we just didn't see it as kids. Like, but it was actually pretty good. But anyway, so I'm always drawn to animal characters. I think for me, I'm looking at this page. I guess I should share it. I'll put it up in the post. But the cat just looks so expressive. It's like the cat is throwing food into its mouth, which is
he was trying to throw food in his mouth, and it never made it into his mouth. That's a little inside joke that my fans and I had live streaming. He loves these Happy's nuggets, but it's a play off of a few things. But these nuggets, but rarely does he get to eat these nuggets because something always happens. Is like Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, where he never actually gets the thing that he wants really bad. So there's always something that happens where he never gets the food. And so that's what's happening. And a lot of people on my live stream, they know it's an inside joke. I feel so bad, even though I know it's just something I made up. Like, maybe he should just get the food in one of the panels. I don't know. It's so mean. But yeah, but yeah, his name is Pocky. He was based off of my brother's cat, who I mean, recently he passed away, so rest in peace, Pocky. But I created him when he was still alive and kind of young and rambunctious for a kitty cat, and so he is the sidekick of the girl you see in that page. Her name is Aya, and she's basically his owner, but. So he's a sidekick. He does little interesting things, like he's like a stealth little guy, and he has like an AI cat friend with wings who like unlocks certain doors and breaks codes because he's not real. I mean, that's why he's got wings. But I have AI cats in my comic book every once in a while. I always compare it to like people losing their cell phones. So you got like these AI cats roaming the streets in the alleyways, and they're not real cats. So, and they kind of look kind of cool. So I thought it'd be just something unique for my own book. And plus, I get to draw cats all the time. So I'm like, or dogs, whatever. Not complaining. Love it. So that's fuck you.
That's one of my favorite tropes, like in animation. It's like the cat or the pet that is just like super smart and is like doing stuff behind the scenes, like Spike
Yeah.
of the Rugrats, or like gosh, what's the other one?
Scrappy Doo. Well, I mean, he's not really a pet though.
Right, but like there's definitely like those like even like Dastardly and Muttley, like even go back to stuff like that, like where it's just like the it's an inside joke between like you, the 8-year old watching TV, and the cat that's on the screen. Like, my owner doesn't see, but I'm doing it.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Isn't that funny though when sometimes an animal has their own pet and it's another animal? And then one of them talks and the other one's just a regular animal that doesn't speak. I
right?
mean, to me, that's ridiculous, but it's so funny.
Yeah, like Mickey has Pluto, who's a
Yeah, 'cause
dog,
that's what I was thinking.
and
Yeah, I
then
know.
Goofy's a dog, but Goofy can't talk to Pluto in English
I
because
know. I think my head's just gonna hurt now. I'm like, wait, why? It's pretty
right.
amazing,
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
but
But
it works.
it works. It works. Gosh, I feel like a cat in a box. I have no idea where I was going with that, but
No, no, I think, but you asked about the cat, and the cat's supposed to make you go on a tangent. So,
right. Um, but yeah, no, I do love that trope. Just smart animals. Oh, speaking of, right, like Francis has one in Rockefellers. Like
yeah.
that dog has done everything from like flying a plane, a spaceship, to like changing babies. Like it's that dog does everything, and it's a cyber dog. Like it's
I
like
know, I love it.
it's great. I love that
No,
dog.
I mean, and it was such an honor to work with him. Like, he was one of the earliest influences when I decided to go traditional kind of. He was inking with Sumi ink, and I asked him a long time ago. I'm like, "Hey, what do you use? It looks so fluid. I love the fluidity of it. It reminds me of uh God, I forgot his name just off the top of my head. He does all the Metal Gear Solid video game art, Shinkawa, and I love that Sumi brush, calligraphy look. And so he was early on doing that stuff, and with the flash and everything. And ever since then, I was like, I want my stuff to look that fluid and organic. And so even if I'm coloring in Clip Studio Paint or Photoshop, I want my lines to at least look like it was done by hand. I mean, I'm always going to want to do something like that.
Got you. No, that's awesome. I really I'm jealous of artists in general, but specifically comic artists, right? And then people like you and Francis who are completely unfair, but like who can do a thing and articulate the thing they're doing. Like
Mhm.
that's a gift. Like I know during the pandemic I was like every Monday night, I gotta watch David Finch, draw some pictures.
Oh yeah, oh
Uh,
yeah.
I gotta sit there and
You
watch
and
him.
me both. I think we all did.
Right, right. And then even like Jim Lee used to stream a lot more, and he's like, "All
Mhm.
right, let's just throw together this super
This
amazing
crazy
flash."
quick sketch, and then yeah, and ink it with a little super tiny nib, and it just turns into just like your head explodes. Yeah, I trust me, those guys still blow my mind, and that's kind of why I'm so happy to be a part of it. Because I also want to get sketches from my friends at times and colleagues. It's like, I love collecting art, and I wish I could do it more. But yeah, it still blows my mind. There's no getting going like, I'm better than them, or I've made it. Like it never gets that way. I think there's always like a giddy childhood admiration for their work and the person and stuff. So
I think it's important to have that. Like, I think it's important to have a thing where it's like you never arrive. There's always something to tinker with, So I'm showing you guys the campaign page, for Neo-Wonderland. As you can see, we've completely blown past this goal. We've got about 2 weeks left at the time of recording, so maybe about a week left by the time you're watching this. Um, and everything's already all, it's all secured. You're going to make sure you got your stuff. We're fully funded, right? But this is a 40-page book. There's also 16 pages of behind the scenes. I love extras. Like,
I know. I added 4 extra pages to the story because of the stretch goal, which was 25K. So now it's gonna be 44 pages of story instead of just 40. So
yes,
I could use those extra pages. Trust me, like you can never have enough pages.
right, right. So, yeah, there's thank you pages, and again, I want you guys to see this art. I was talking about it earlier, um, but the colors are so bright. Like, I didn't grow up on like the cyberpunk wave. Like, I was just telling
Hmm.
somebody, like, I'm a '90s kid, but for me, it was Disney animation for like most of my childhood. That's all I watched. And then by the time I grew up, like I didn't care to go back and watch like the Terminator or Aliens and stuff like that whole wave. Um, or like Blade Runner, for example. But I really just love how bright everything. Like it's bright and dark. If that makes any sense.
Hmm.
Weird, but I love it. I love the skin tones. Like everything just looks very futuristic. Um, how do you decide on a palette for something like this?
I usually it goes with mood. It's a lot like how if you watch Disney films and then you see Disney concept art, they decide whatever the mood of the story was or where the mood or the emotional change is going to happen in the story. So if it's supposed to be dark later on, the contrast would be it's bright. Or if you're foreshadowing, then there's a certain set of color palettes that you'd use to kind of illustrate that. And sometimes, you might be in an environment where it was supposed to be colorful anyways, but then you could always add more shadows to bring down the brightness in a way and make it a more darker, maybe mood or something. Some people do it that way where what you see is kind of like, what you see in real life maybe and just change the contrast. But sometimes some people play around with mood a lot like Alex Sinclair does with Jim Lee's
Yeah.
colors that he does with Batman. So they're not realistic, but there's a definite color change for certain scenes. Like, it's going to be more red or blue and just green depending on the character sometimes. So he plays with colors differently than I do. So every colorist has their own preference for how they like to approach, you know, um, how a story changes, I guess. And it's a lot like in cinematography and then color grading in film is the same concept. And you kind of pick out how your colors are going to play out, whether it's realistic or more abstract, and then you just make it more of a mood
Hmm.
and less realistic, I guess, like a painting, I guess.
The mood makes sense. Somebody was asking me because like I've had a hard time getting into manga. And I've just told people, like, you know what? Like, I think it's just I need the colors. I need colors in my
Hmm.
books. And for me, the colors almost tell you how to feel about what you're seeing.
Hmm.
Before you read anything, it's like, okay, it's bright, it's dark. And like you said, it's the mood. It definitely sets the tone in
Hmm.
that way. I think great color art, like, is super helpful in that way.
Hmm.
Um,
No, I agree, and that's why some people have a preference between Western and Eastern comics, I guess. Yeah.
right. So we're looking at these different covers. So we've got the cover A, cover B. You did all of these covers? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I didn't get another variant artist this time around, and I think after talking to all my buddies, it's like, just this is your book, this is you, this is your first one, just showcase your story and don't worry so much about the covers and stuff. And that's kind of something I'm learning now, like, because you're putting yourself out there and you feel like if you failed, it's like, oh, it's all me. It's all my fault, or I'm not good enough. But yeah, so it's just all me this time around.
Nice. There's metal covers.
And the
There's a
black and
black
white
and white.
edition for people who love manga and they love black and white. So that's available as well for the artist tier.
Man, looking at these preview pages, there's just so much cool stuff here.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. So, all right, let me go through these rewards real quick. I gotta make sure we're doing our job here instead of just being nerds. But
And
uh,
that's the digital download. So that's digital only. It
okay,
comes with the behind the scenes, like making of, because I know a lot of people who watch my stuff on YouTube, they are aspiring artists or they are artists. And I thought it was important to put something out for them as well. So the digital tier includes that. I feel like it would just be worth, putting it out there with more stuff that's more comprehensive. Because when you do live streams and YouTube episodes are either short or you only answer questions, and there's like this, it's like a bunch of puzzle pieces, and you don't understand exactly how they all come together, I guess.
Right. Right. All right. And so then you can get a print copy for just $20. And again, they've hit the stretch goal. So there's 4 extra pages of story, plus still you get all the back matter, creator commentary, thank you pages. And of
the
course,
digital copy too.
oh, you get the digital okay.
Yeah, so everybody gets a digital copy when they have the print copy, in case they don't want to like open up their book and they want to grade it. They just want to read it, on their iPad or something.
Listen, I'm all for it. It's funny, like I'm a huge physical media nerd, but
Me too.
I get so mad when like the digital code on my Marvel books doesn't work.
I
Like
know. It's
or
like,
like
what's up? I thought I bought this thing, right?
right. Like because it's so helpful, especially now because I got a baby. And so it's like that toddler death grip will kill a comic book, but she can't crush the
No,
iPad. So need it.
not yet, at least.
And gosh, foreshadowing.
Godzilla. Yeah.
So we got all these different variant covers once again. And I mean, the variants are only like $5 more than the regular cover. So great value in here. But then if you, there's the artist edition that comes with a sketchbook. So you get the cover A, you also get a black and white edition, or is that
Yeah,
two
yeah, yeah.
different covers and the
So
sketchbook?
you do get the the main cover, the black and white edition, and the sketchbook. So it's called the artist edition because usually people who are artists or love art would be the ones that would get that one, the sketchbook and black and white edition, which is by far I think the most popular tier we have so far. That
Yeah,
one, yeah, that one.
yeah. I mean, it makes sense because you get so much with it. And
I'm a sketchbook geek. I love sketchbooks so much. So I had to have my own sketchbook.
right,
I could not have it.
Dennis Cowan did an art book Kickstarter, and I backed it. One of the extras was like a piece of original art,
Ooh.
so I got that, and so I'm looking at the campaign, and there was like the option to spend like $20 more to get a sketchbook, and I was like, I've probably spent enough money, and so I didn't get it, and now I regret not getting the sketchbook. It's so funny.
It's so cool. I love sketchbooks
They're great.
and art
Um,
books.
yes. Okay, so tier 6, we've got a metal cover. Those are always fun. And I like that the way the colors show on a metal cover is different than the way it would show on paper. So it's like it's a fun effect that you get there.
Yeah, it's very cyberpunk. Hopefully, I
Yeah,
have to get proofs of those, but I'm hoping that they look as cool as you think in your head when you think cyberpunk.
right. Okay, so you can get metal covers of each of those variants, which
That one's the
ooh,
only one that's very different.
the
That one's
cover.
inverted, and I thought it
Yeah.
looked cooler that way. So there's only 3 metal covers because to have 4 would just be overkill, I felt like.
Mm,
And they're so expensive to print and they're super limited. So I think we're doing 30 of each. I'm not sure yet. I think it's
gotcha.
only 30 of each.
Yeah, the metal cover C, like it looks like for those who are listening, just audio, it's almost like a camera negative, and that's really cool. Oh, hockey swag. This is where I start kicking myself for scrolling too far. Um,
Kitty
yes,
cat tier.
all right. Kitty cats here. You got the Pocky t-shirt, Pocky sketchbook with comic strips, stickers, keychain, a magnet. Listen, if you're a cat lover, this is the one for you.
Oh, and you also get like a kitty ID tag, so it's gonna say Pocky on it. It's like a real cat tag.
Oh,
I'm trying to
cool.
figure out how to put numbers on it, to show who backed it when. So it's like 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10
Gotcha.
or something like that. But to print those things, it's gonna be interesting. I'll have to figure that out.
That's that's a headache I would not like to try to figure out at all.
No, because once they what is it? They laser
Hmm.
etch it on there. It's like, how do you do the other side without having it cost more than the comic book? So
Right. Um, okay, so you can get all the covers plus the sketchbook in one tier, or you can get all the metal covers in another tier, or you can get all the covers
all
and
of
all the
it.
metal covers, right?
If you
So you
love
can
covers, you
so
get all of them.
so you can cover while you cover. Um, and then there's
All
just
of it.
The mega
You
set
get to
get
everything
everything. Trading
except for Pocky.
cards, t-shirts, all the cool stuff. Oh, sketch cover commissions. Oh, you've got original art pages here too.
Yes, and I think we
Mm,
have maybe 3 pages left out of the ones you see there. Towards the bottom, I think it shows which ones aren't available anymore.
got you. Okay.
1, 2, 3,
Man.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So yeah, there's a lot. Okay, yeah.
So
It
those are
shows
all
which
gone.
ones are
Yeah.
not are gone. Page two was a good page to grab,
Thank you.
and that is
That
gone.
was the main cover is gone. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so yeah, this is the segment part of the show that gets really awkward for the audio listeners, and I'll just encourage you to go to YouTube so that you can see this campaign page, or you want to skip all of that, you can just go straight to comicsaredope.com/wonderland, and that'll take you straight to the campaign page with however much time is left for you to go ahead and secure your copies of all of this. Um, so I'll stop sharing now. And I want to get back to this conversation we've been having just about, again, being multidisciplinary, performing art in so many different ways, but also kind of building a confidence muscle. Like there's one thing to build creative muscles. There's another thing to like say, all right, you know what? It's time to put myself out there. Um, and you're stretching it in different ways, right? You're doing it with music videos and cooking and camera gear and all the things. Um, I'm curious as to like, now that the project is, well, we're kind of in the middle of it, but it's going to fund, right? We know we can kind of start looking at like, okay, what's next? How do you view the next few years now that you've kind of made this big step?
I mean, I think the one thing that is the elephant in the room for a lot of us comic book creators, when it comes to crowdfunding and then it comes to your local comic book shops. And then it comes to the, distribution that was kind of completely changed the landscape in the last 5 years, especially in the last year where it was like definite that it was going to change.
Mhm.
That's the kind of thing where, I mean, the whole community matters. You know what I mean? Whether it's distribution and especially the comic book shops and especially people who go into shops to buy it, because that experience of, like getting a physical copy of a book and talking to your local comic book shop owners and then meeting people that way, having people who share this space with you. I was talking to a few people the other day and they basically said it's like a sanctuary for you. You feel safe there. You don't feel judged. You feel like you're a part of something. And it's like that a bunch of people worked on something. So for me, it's like trying to figure out how to get from the Kickstarter to local comic book shops and then trade paperbacks and just like spreading it as big as I can because I still love the industry for what it is. And I feel like you need the younger generation to be brought on board in order for it to grow and be sustainable and healthy. And when they feel like they didn't know that there was a tie-in or how close the Spider-Man movie was to the comic books, that's where, you run into problems and things start to change in ways that maybe it doesn't really help the previous generation and it doesn't really give the future generation anything to look forward to in a way, especially with AI coming on board now with a lot of these things that are happening and it's unpredictable. And that's kind of why my book is the way that it is. Not saying, oh, screw AI and stuff. It's like, but it is here. This is our world. How can I make it so I could understand it better without judging it any way or another, but like just human, the human connection and stuff like that. Like, how does that affect us? I mean, it's already hard and strange as it is with the cell phones, and social media and stuff. And so I probably won't get into the social media aspect of it. I think we've seen how that played out this past couple decades, maybe,
Mhm.
or decade and a half. But I think the AI thing and then the meaning of work and fulfillment, like how does that feel in the future? And so, yes, physical things and experiences still matter to me. I mean, I might be an old fart just saying that, but I feel like it might be something that a couple of decades it would still resonate somehow. So
Yeah.
my future is to hopefully kind of help the whatever we have now thrive and kind of grow back out of the ashes of whatever we have going on right now.
One thing that's encouraging to me, I was just talking about this with someone yesterday. Like right now, there's this wave of kids. I shouldn't call them kids. I'm only 34, but there's this wave of like, high school, college age kids who came off of TikTok when they thought the ban was going to like shut everything down. and now they're on YouTube doing these new comic book day vlogs, and
Oh, cool.
it's almost like when the hipster kids discovered vinyl. Like it,
Yeah, that makes
it,
sense.
it's like they're going to shops, they're buying single issues, they're thumbing through back issues, and it's like
That's so cool.
watching someone find like this relic of the past. And it's just weird because it's like it's not quite the past. Like we've been buying these all this time, but like it's cool and encouraging
Hmm.
to see another generation embrace it.
Yep.
And so it's like when we're talking about AI and the social media, like kind of and even like kids' attention span, like because of things like TikTok or like for my kids, it's Coco Melon or whatever, and it's like the that's the sort of one glimmering spot that I see. Like, okay, well, the kids might be all right. Like I like that things are coming around
Hmm.
and there's an appreciation, I think, for the human element where everything
Yes.
feels like, you can't get an app these days without some sort of recommendation engine. Like I turn on the TV and it's not just channels waving at me. It's like, oh, because you watched this, maybe you'll
Yep.
like this. And so
Oh
there's
my
something about
gosh.
kind of taking back that power of choice.
I agree. Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what the kids are like focused in on right now. Like, nah, we're gonna buy this book, we're gonna read it within our hands, and
Hmm.
thumb through it and like
Hmm.
just be excited about it. So I like that that's a thing right now. And so I think it's a good fight that you're fighting. And yeah, it's not a lost cause.
Yeah, I know. It seems like that sometimes, and I understand what you mean by the recommendations. I was watching something on Amazon. It was like it's like a period piece. It was like probably a TV show or something, and I just wanted to watch a couple, but I
Mhm.
didn't want for like 2 weeks them to recommend every possible variation of that for the last 30 years, which I found a couple good things, and I'm like, my brain feels exhausted because I'm seeing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
And so I'm like, I don't know how to unplug that thing. I had to actively think, what if I want to see like an action film? Well, I had to think of a movie, but I couldn't because all I saw was like kings and queens and like
Uh,
wars and like Sparta and stuff like that. I was just like, man, I can't. The Top Gun, I guess.
yep.
Terminator 2. You had to like search something and physically and then have to watch it just so the algorithm changes so that it's not like the same thing.
I,
So.
s- I saw a post. There's this guy who bought his kids one of those TVs with a VCR attached and just like 20
Oh.
VHS tapes and it's like, all right, this is your TV. This is what you watch. Like you pick one of those. When you're done with that, you take it out and put a different one in, and that's it.
Dude, that is awesome. The kid
Right.
is like, I hate you. My friends don't have to do that.
Right.
They take the film out of the tape, they just open it and just
Right.
just
Oh
right.
man. Man. That's
They
great.
destroyed Bambi that way, right? So
Man, I have so many tapes I destroyed as a kid. That's
oh
bad.
I know. But they're precious, so precious.
They are.
Um
Yeah. Listen, this has been an amazing conversation. I'm really excited that, this campaign is already funded. I'm going to go in and back it. I was going to just do digital, but the physical is not that much more. So I'm going to be a lucky kid and go ahead and get one of these.
oh
And
my god, thank you so much. I
you
really
guys,
appreciate that.
no problem at all. And you guys listening should do the same. So again, just visit comicsaredope.com/wonderland. That'll take you to the Kickstarter campaign page for as long as it is live. And see, even when this is over, where can people find you?
I'm always on my YouTube every Saturday nowadays, live streaming. So it's youtube.com/ at Sia Ohm, so my whole name. And I'm always on Instagram, and that's at Sia_Ohm. So those are the two places you'll find me. If worst case scenario, I have a website that I don't update that much, so I don't recommend that. But YouTube for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I will link to this in the show notes, and I will invite you as a collaborator in the
Oh,
episode,
perfect.
so that way
Yeah,
people can
perfect. I love
see
that.
you right there on your
Nice.
page.
Nice.
Awesome.
See, you know about that. A lot of other people don't know about the collaboration thing yet. I didn't until recently, so
Oh yeah. Listen, it's a godsend. It's helpful. So
it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
right, right. I feel like we should have had this a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Instagram did. So,
Right. Well, look, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, go back the campaign. You don't have a whole lot of time left to do it, so click the link in the show notes and stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.